The member for Bonner.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for the Environment and Energy, representing the Minister for Education and Training. Will the Minister inform the House how the government's need-based funding model will provide the greatest funding increases to the most disadvantaged students in schools in Brisbane, like St Agnes School in Mount Gravatt and Rochdale State School, Rochdale, both in my electorate of Bonner? Is the Minister aware of the Queensland Government's record on funding public schools, and is the Minister aware of any other approaches?
The Minister for the Environment and Energy, representing the Minister for Education.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for Bonner for his question and acknowledge that he's deeply committed to the Turnbull government's massive boost to school funding throughout this country. $18.6 billion, a 75% increase. More than 9,000 schools will benefit. And there are 45 schools in the electorate of Bonner, 27,000 students, and they will benefit from the Turnbull government's announcement. Like the Rochdale School with more than 1,300 students, which will get an extra $11 million. Like St Agnes Catholic Primary School with more than 300 students, which will also get a significant funding boost, Mr Speaker, of more than $4 million. Now, when I was asked about funding by the Queensland Government for public schools in that state, the most recent Productivity Commission report provides for telling reading, because it says that the Queensland Government has only increased funding for public schools by 2.1%. Now, what the Commonwealth funding in that time for Queensland public schools has been 9.5%, Mr Speaker, a complete contrast. Now, Mr Speaker, I'm asked about alternative approaches. We know that the Leader of the Opposition said that Catholic schools, he claimed Catholic schools will face fee increases. The member for Sydney went even further. She said that there will be fee increases and schools will close. So what does the Executive Director of the Brisbane Catholic Education Office say when she writes to all her parents? And I quote, listen closely, this is what they said: "We will receive an increase in government funding, not a reduction." We thank the federal government for its continuing support and its commitment to providing fair and equitable funding for the next decade, Mr Speaker. Hear, 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 says the Coalition's front bench and back bench, Mr Speaker, because we know we're increasing funding significantly to more than 9,000 schools. So I say to the member for Sydney, go and say to the schools across your electorate that under the Turnbull government's plan, they will receive on average $2.5 million more. $2.5 million more in the member for Sydney's electorate. And in the member for Maribyrnong's electorate, you know how much more the average school will receive under the Turnbull government? $7.5 million, Mr Speaker. Over $7 million. Over $7 million. So only the Coalition, not the Labor Party, can be counted on to deliver better funding, better targeted funding for 9,000 plus schools across the country.
Concluded.